Good morning, good morning, good morning. And welcome back to the Operation Heal 100 Hearts channel where we do what? Focus on healing, humor, and hot motherfucking topics. What's up, you nosy ass bitches? If you are here, I already know why. You already know why. So let's not waste no time and let's get into it. But before we do, please, ladies and gentlemen, go hit the thumbs up on this video. Please go hit the thumbs up on this video. And let's get into this Dear Deja letter. Dear Deja, let me know if I'm bugging. I have a special needs teenager. About a year and a half ago, a new family moved in my building. My poor kid is obsessed with one of the young ladies in that particular family. It started with him giving her compliments and flowers, making small talk, and eventually they became friends. She's very aware that my kid is a special needs kid, and this young lady is incredibly advanced for her age, so in my opinion, it's a mismatch. But up until a few weeks ago, their relationship was fine by me. A few weeks ago, my sister sent me a TikTok that went viral, and surprisingly, it's my son and a young lady. In the video, in my opinion, she is basically making a fool out of my son, rejecting his advances and getting him to buy her things and pretend that she likes him back. She even says in the video, growing up is realizing that these niggas will do anything to keep you around. Deja, I'm not going to lie, watching that, I felt like she was exploiting my son, and that shit pissed me off. When I brought this video to his attention, he said he agreed to do the video because he wanted his friend to go viral. I stayed quiet. Since then, it's been 3 more videos released with my freaking kid looking like the slow boy she's just making fun of and embarrassing, and he's completely oblivious. As a man, that shit fucked me up because I know my boy is special needs, but at the end of the day, he's still a teenage boy that is soon to be a man. I don't want him to think that this is how you let chicks treat you. His mom says I'm overreacting and being sensitive because it's our kid. I don't know, but I do know I don't like that shit. What you think I should do? Sign, I feel bad. My boy is going out sad. Okay. Let me take a sip of my water as always. Alrighty then, Papa Bear. It's never, ever in this lifetime a bad thing to want to protect your children. It's never, ever in this lifetime a bad thing to want to protect your children. So let me start off by saying that. Because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like your whole, I'm sorry, you guys. It sounds like your whole reason for writing this letter or feeling this way is because you know that you have to protect your young person. So let me start off by saying there is no wrong way to feel when it comes, or any bad way to feel when it comes to protecting your child. Right? So for that, I commend you. I applaud you. I'm sorry, guys. This air conditioner is on, making it a little chilly. And I don't think anything is wrong with that. Let's start there, right? Secondly, like I always tell you guys, if we were in the Operation Heal 100 Heart session, which is pretty much what these Dear Dejas are the preliminary for, then we only have conversation about the letter writer, aka the participant, right? So, first of all, I would have to ask, how old is your young person? Right? That's number one on the list. How old is your young person? I know you said they're a teenager, but are you a 13-year-old or are you an 18-year-old? You know, how old is your young person, right? It seems as though I want to say he's an older teenager because number one, you said that you asked him about consenting to the videos and he said he did. And I think if he was a minor and he did, whether he did or didn't consent to the videos, you would pretty much have a different approach because then you would be the person in charge giving the consent if he was a minor, right? So I feel like he might be an older teenager. I also feel like he might be an older teenager because you said he's soon to be a man, right? And granted, all young people grow up to be adults, but I think you're a little bit more sensitive because he may be a tad bit older and you know he's about to reach adulthood and you don't want him to have to encounter this type of things when he becomes a full-blown grown man. So that's what's making me assume he's an older teenager. You could write me back and let me know if my assumption was wrong, right? Like I said, I do not feel you're being too sensitive. What I would have to ask is, what have you done as a dad to instill and expose your son to what being a man looks like, right? And the reason why I say this is because most times, oftentimes, young people's special needs or not, they mimic what they see. Right. We learn what we live. Right. We learn what we live. So most times, young people, I was a young person before, so I can definitely attest to this. We kind of build our skill set off of what we're presented with and what we're exposed to. Like, I'll give you an example, right? My dad was very, very romantic towards my mom, right? He would buy her little gifts and he would always express his love for her, even so much so that he would say he wanted to go before my mom because he couldn't imagine life without my mother, right? So because I encountered a man who treated my mother with such love and care, I require that same treatment. And whereas I see other women can take a lot and deal with a lot of disrespect from a man, or what I view as disrespect from a man, I kind of tap out early on because I'm not used to that. I didn't grow up seeing that. So the example I'm trying to make, the correlation I'm trying to make is, what are you showing your son, right, for him to believe that what he's doing is the right thing? Now, granted, I don't want you to take offense to that question because I know it almost sounds like, basically, am I saying to you, is your son being a motherfucking simp because you a simp? No, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm just simply asking is, what behaviors are you displaying, right? What behaviors are you displaying? And also, I want to give you the flip side of the behaviors that you might or might not be displaying. Let's just say your dad is seeing you do what he's doing for this young lady, which is shower her with gifts and act as if he's really, really infatuated with her, so on and so forth. Let's just say that that's the behaviors that your son is seeing you display to his mom or whatever woman you have in your life romantically, right? I had this, wow, it's so crazy how life will bring things up. I had this same thing happen with me, whereas, okay, I witnessed my mom be a particular way to my dad. So in turn, that's what I started to emulate. The only difference was, and my mom had to verbally say these things to me, was, Khadija, what you're seeing took years and years and years and years for me and your dad to grow up into. Right? It's not something that happens automatically. Meanwhile, I didn't see the years and the years and the years and the years, I wasn't born yet, of them growing into that. I just saw the actions, so I emulated that. And that's what might be happening with your son too. He might be seeing you be so loving with his mom or with the lady that you have in your life, and so sweet and so giving. And because of that, in turn, he found the woman that he has feelings for. So I feel like I have to be the same, right? And I think that, special needs or not, if these are some of the behaviors that you're displaying, I think it's time to sit baby boy down and have that conversation. Right? You didn't get into detail in regards to what special needs your young person has. The only thing that I will say is, if he does get outside services regarding his special needs, you may also want to partner with those folks to assist you in delivering the message, because they may have a particular way that they do it that he picks it up better with, or you may not feel you're equipped to do so. Either way, however it goes, you want to make sure you get the message across that these behaviors that you're displaying, even though either A, you may have seen them, or B, you may have just thought they were the right things to do. Let me explain to you why that might create an issue for you, right? If he's an older young man, I'm just going to drop the special needs part off, not because it's not important, but because I want to have conversation with you in regards to your young person just being a young person. These behaviors may not have anything to do with the fact that he's special needs. I have encountered plenty of young people who are sick puppies over their significant other. And I have also seen young people be sick puppies over their significant other, and the significant other not feel the same way. So it doesn't necessarily only have to do with the fact that your young person has special needs. He may just be a lovesick puppy over a girl he really likes. That happens. Okay, Dad? Once again, I do think that there is some sensitivity surrounding it because he's special needs. So you almost feel like you have to overprotect him, which I totally get. But I don't want you to only think that this is happening because he is special needs, because I'm not special needs, and I've been a lovesick puppy over a person who may not have always had the feelings may not have always been reciprocated. It happens. It happens to adults. So that's why I said this next bit of advice, I want to drop off the special needs piece because I want to have a straight up conversation about him just being a young person and having feelings. First of all, like I said, what he's doing right now happens. I'm sorry, Dad. I regret to inform you. It happens. It happens. I can name nephews. I can name family members. I can name people that have done this. I can also name adults. And sometimes the feeling wasn't reciprocated. You know, what I will say about that is that all comes down to teaching your young person about self-worth. Let me say that again. It all boils down to teaching your young person about self-worth, about value in self, right? So sometimes it takes years for folks to recognize their self-worth and their value in self. Sometimes people go to their grave never realizing it. And I'm just keeping it real here with you, Dad, because I speak to adults who still don't know, right? So let me run it down to you what it looks like. And again, I always try to use myself because I don't want to use anybody else's situation. I have been in relationships where there was a chunk of doubt in my self-worth, right? So because of that, I would do things like, wow, you know, I really don't like what so-and-so is doing, but if I go through the scenario in my head and think about approaching this person, clearly they're comfortable with what they're doing. So if I approach them and try to make them uncomfortable in any way, I may lose them. And then it's like, oh, wow, well, I don't want that to happen. So you know what? I'll just stay quiet, you know, and continue to endure what makes me uncomfortable because I don't want to lose them. You know why? I did that because I felt that there was more value in them than in myself. And because of that, I was willing to lose everything within Khadijah just to make them happy, right? Now, when I got on the healing journey, doing my own healing heart sessions, what I came to realize is I have a lot that I contribute to this world. Anybody whose life that I'm in, anybody whose company that I'm in, anybody whose circumference that I'm in, I bring value in that space all the time. Even doing these Dear Deidre letters, not even only for the letter writer, but for even my audience, I'm bringing some form of value to this space, right? So if there ever comes a time where somebody wants to say, I'm no longer watching your videos, I'm no longer participating in healing heart sessions, I no longer want to be around you, I no longer want to, whatever, to me, for me, it's like, okay, well, you can just go off and find what you need because I'm not it. But you separating from me does not diminish my value and self or my self-worth because I'm very confident and sure of who I am, right? Having this conversation with your young person, you don't even have to harp too much on the young lady because she is another young person and you don't want to disrespect or downgrade another young person for the sake of yours. But you definitely want to let your young person know that he is valuable, you know, and let him know that he has self-worth. And if he's getting treated as though somebody is more important than him, then that person is not of any value to him. Now, let me tell you where the issue might come in at, is that he may not feel that he's being treated anyway. And the reason why I say that is because you said in the letter, oh, he said, well, no, I consented to being in this video because I wanted my friend to go viral. So I think he thinks like, oh, no, I'm doing a good thing for my friend, right? He may not assess it the same way as you. So you even if you go have this whole conversation about value of self and self-worth and so on and so forth, in the end, he may understand and absorb it, but he may also feel like, but I'm not being taken advantage of here. I'm doing something to help a friend. And that may be his genuine assessment, right? I could see where you are assessing it differently, okay? And I'm kind of at a crossroads with giving you feedback in this letter because I honestly can't say if your assessment or if that's his assessment, who's right or wrong here, right? And I definitely kind of have, I definitely am kind of stuck in the middle because I also feel like there may be an added extra layer because like you shared in your letter time and time again, he's special needs. So what I would say is this: if you came to an Operation Heal 100 Heart session and we got to sit down and you gave me the history of your young person, then I probably could give a little bit better feedback, because in about, okay, Dad, I see where you're going with this. I see where you're going with this. But this one isolated incident, I honestly can't say whether you're right or wrong for your assessment. But I do want to honor the fact that you want to protect your young person. I'm just wondering if this is something he needs protection from. So funny, I'm talking about this because I just was having this conversation last night with my brother. Shout out my brother Manny, who has a daughter in college. So proud of my niece. Shout out my niece Naya. But we were having this conversation about when I have children and versus him having children, and how we both want our young people to have experiences, right? We don't want them to be sheltered from anything, that could help them grow. So I'm wondering, in this situation, is this something that your young person needs to be protected from, or does he need to grow through this experience so he can know what to do moving forward? So, Dad, I would have to ask, with you trying to protect your son here, are you being a hindrance or are you being of some help? And once again, I don't want you to be offended about me speaking in regards to you're wanting to provide protection, because I'm not doing that to be offensive. I'm just doing it for you to do some self-assessing, because you have to remember, you're asking me about what decision to make regarding someone else, not yourself. And while you may have assessed that situation one way, it may not be through the correct lens, because A, like you said, that's your baby. B, he's special needs. And C, you want to protect him. So I think we have to do some self-assessing, right? So we went to Healing Heart session. I'm like, well, sit down. Let's talk. Let's rap. First of all, let me hear the history of this young person. Growing up, he used to act as if what? He used to partake in what? Like, for example, if we sat for a Healing Heart session and you said, well, you know what, Deja, the reason why I feel this way is because when he was younger, he used to let people take advantage of him with his toys. So, okay, ding, 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 ding. I see why you feel this way now. Because this is a pattern for him that you want to break before he becomes a grown man. Got it, right? I would understand that. That's why I would be asking, okay, well, let me hear this history. Because once again, if you only have this isolated situation, then it may not be that you're helping him by not letting him grow through this on his own. He needs to see what it looks like, where it's like, oh my God, I was being, how you may view a fucking simp for a chick that wasn't even feeling me. But again, how would I know if I don't grow through the situation on my own? And you don't want to hinder your young person by stopping their growth because you don't want them to have these experiences, because they're going to affect you as the parent. Am I landing the plane? Thumbs up in the chat if I'm landing the plane. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up on this video. But no, seriously, because I think that parents, and I can see this often because I'm outside looking in, it's one of the gifts that I have as not being a parent, is that when I have conversations with parents, I can kind of help them see things from a different perspective, because their judgment is so clouded, because I don't give a fuck what you say, it's my kid. I get it 100%. 100%. But what I think you need to get is, it's not everybody else in the world's kid. So they will feel differently from you, and they will maneuver things differently from you, and you have to prepare your young person for that. But as long as you're coddling them and sheltering them from having experiences, they will not be prepared for the real world. And the real world doesn't look like what mommy and daddy looks like. So, like I said, in the Healing Heart session, we will be talking about the history to see if this is a pattern for your young man. If we establish that, then we start setting forth some ways that we can kind of diminish this behavior so it can go away. But if there is no pattern, then I will be coming back to you, Papa Bear. Is there a reason that you're sensitive surrounding the situation? Are you sensitive because at one point this was you, and you felt how traumatizing it was to grow through that, so you're like, I'm not letting that happen to my boy? Could that be the case? Or, like I said, are you feeling a way because you feel like because your young person is special needs, you have to have an extra layer of protection over them? Is that the case? There would be things that I would be asking you to self-assess about self, so you can do your best to properly assist your young person. Because if this is just an experience that he needs to grow through to see what he's not going to tolerate as a man, or is going to tolerate as a man, you have to let him grow through that. As hard as it may sound, Dad. Let me say that again. If this is a situation that he needs to grow through to see what he will or will not tolerate in adulthood as a man, Dad, it does not help you to hinder him from doing so. You have to let him grow through it. As hard as it may sound. Because I know you are looking at the TV or the phone or the whatever right now saying, DJ, shut the fuck up. Do you have any fucking kids? I get it. 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 But I also need you to get some of the things that I'm saying to you, if not all of them, because then you can do your own self-assessing and pretty much lay out what it is that you need to do that's best for your baby. Because right now, we don't need what's best for Papa Bear. We don't need to be safeguarding your feelings. We don't need to be nurturing your trauma. Right now, this is about your baby. We need to be doing all of those things if needed for him or not. All right, Papa Bear. Listen, I get it. I definitely get it. And I know as a parent, it is so frustrating to hear anything that is opposite of what you feel can help your young person. I know what Jay said. I know it hurt. It must be said even though it hurts to say. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. Like, sometimes I kind of cringe, like, oh, God. Because I know the person going to be looking at me like, you're only saying that because you're not a parent and you don't understand. Well, I tend to feel like if all of those things are coming up for you regarding what I'm sharing with you, then you wouldn't be writing me a letter. You clearly wanted some of my feedback, and here it is. It's either you take it or you leave it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, please hit the thumbs up on the video. Please hit the thumbs up on the video, you nosy ass bitch, okay? Because we got more letters coming down the pike, and I want you guys to please drop down in the comment section and leave your feedback. Do you have any feedback for this, Dad? Have you ever experienced this? Are you the parent of a special needs child? Let this gentleman know. Please let this gentleman know. I would love to hear some parents in the comment section, because I already know I'm going to get chewed out about not being the one to give it feedback. Who gives a fuck, right? In any event, like I said, hit the thumbs up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it, and please enjoy your day. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Did it stop? Nope.